Every planet position in a real birth chart comes from orbital math, the same calculation astronomers use to track planets across the sky. Here's exactly what happens between typing in a birth date and getting a chart back using the same engine, Swiss Ephemeris, that professional astrology software runs on. This channel is about reading a real chart, not a horoscope. Today we go one level deeper than what's already in the chart. We're opening the black box, how a chart gets built, step by step, from raw astronomy to the wheel on your screen. So, what's actually happening when you type in a birth date? Every planet in the solar system moves along a predictable path, governed by gravity. It's the same physics that lets scientists calculate exactly where a spacecraft will be years from now. An ephemeris is just a giant, pre-computed table built from that math, where every planet was, at any date, going back centuries. It isn't a tradition or an opinion. It's math, checked against real telescope observations. The specific table behind an actual chart is called the Swiss Ephemeris, and it's the same dataset most professional astrology software runs on. Each sign of the zodiac spans exactly 30 degrees, and the ephemeris hands back a precise number inside that span, down to the minute of a degree for wherever a planet sat. That's where a placement like 24 degrees of Pisces comes from. Not a guess, a coordinate. This isn't just self-consistent math. It's checked against reality constantly. The same kind of calculation predicts real solar and lunar eclipses to the minute, sometimes decades before they happen, and then astronomers watch it happen exactly on schedule. A birth chart uses that identical toolkit, just pointed at a date in the past instead of the future. That path along the sky, the zodiac, isn't some mystical belt. It's simply the band of sky that the sun, the moon, and every planet all appear to travel through from Earth's point of view. That band is sliced into the 12 familiar signs. When the ephemeris says a planet is in Pisces, it's just naming which 12th of that band the planet was crossing at the time. Before computers, astrologers ran this same calculation by hand with printed tables and a lot of careful arithmetic. It was the same math, just slower to work through. Software didn't change what a chart is. It just made the calculation instant instead of an afternoon's work. Step 1 in building a chart, then, is simple. Feed in a date and a time. The ephemeris hands back exactly where the sun, the moon, and every other planet were sitting along the zodiac at that precise minute. Change the time by even an hour, and the moon can shift enough to matter. It moves roughly half a degree across the sky every hour. Every planet moves at its own pace too, which is part of why this needs real math instead of a memorized pattern. The moon crosses the entire zodiac in about a month, so its sign can change within the same day. Saturn takes almost 30 years to make that same trip, which is why two people born years apart can still share a Saturn sign. An ephemeris tracks all of it, planet by planet, without mixing up the pace of one for another. But date and time only get you the planets. They don't get you the houses, and they don't get you the ascendant, the rising sign. For those, the calculation needs a third fact, exactly where on Earth you were standing when you were born. Place matters this much because of how the Earth moves. It spins once roughly every 24 hours, and that spin is what makes the whole sky appear to rotate around you over the course of a day. At the exact minute you were born, one specific point of the zodiac was sitting right on the eastern horizon, about to rise. That point is the Ascendant, the literal starting line for house number 1. From that starting point, the calculation slices the rest of the sky into 12 houses, using a set of rules called a house system. The one behind this channel's charts is called Placidus. It's one specific, long-established method for dividing the space between the horizon and the point directly overhead into 12 sections. Different house systems exist. Serious software just picks one and stays consistent about it. One more point comes from that same math, the midheaven, the point directly overhead at your exact birth moment. It's figured from your birth time and place the same way the ascendant is, and it's traditionally read as career and public reputation. The ascendant and the midheaven are the 2 points in a chart that come purely from location and clock time, not from a single planet. There's a fourth layer this video doesn't build, the lines connecting planets to each other, called aspects. That's its own video later in this series. For now, here's the pipeline. Date and time place the planets. Time and place together place the ascendant, the midheaven, and the houses around them. Let's run the whole pipeline on one real example, Maya, the chart from the first video in this series. She was born March 14, 1992, at 6:42 in the morning in Chicago. Step 1. Feed in the date and time. The Ephemeris returns every planet's position for that exact minute. That's how we already know her sun landed at 24 degrees of Pisces and her moon at 25 degrees of Cancer. Those two numbers came from an orbital calculation, not a printed table of zodiac dates. Step 2. Feed in the place, Chicago, at its exact coordinates. Combined with her birth time, that's what put her ascendant at 9 degrees of Aries, the sign rising over Chicago's eastern horizon at 6:42 that morning. Step 3. The house system takes that ascendant and divides the rest of the sky around it. That's what puts each of her planets into a specific house, and it puts her midheaven at 4 degrees of Capricorn, her career point. What each house means is a video of its own, later in this series. None of that came from a birth date lookup chart or a printed table of sun signs. Every one of those numbers came from a calculation, run fresh for her exact date, time, and place. Run the same pipeline for someone born even one state over, and every number can shift. That's the same calculation astrologers once did by hand, just faster now. Here's the practical version of all this. This chart needs your exact birth time and location because of how the math works, not because of any rule. Without a birth time, an ephemeris can still hand you your sun and your moon. Those don't depend on where on Earth you were standing. But the ascendant, the midheaven, and the houses can't be calculated without it, because they come from the Earth's rotation under your specific spot on the map. That's also why any two pieces of serious astrology software land on the same numbers for the same birth data. It's math, not house style. If seeing the math behind this made a chart feel less like fortune-telling and more like something real, that's exactly what this channel is for. A quick tap on the like button genuinely helps this reach people asking the same, "Wait, how does this even work?" question. Everything in this video is real. The orbital math behind it is checked and verifiable, the same kind used for anything else in the sky. What that math can't tell you is what a placement means for your life. That's a separate question, built on top of the astronomy, and it's worth keeping separate on purpose. The chart itself is a mirror, not a prophecy, something to recognize yourself in, not a forecast to wait on. So, in 3 lines, a real chart starts with your date and time, run through an ephemeris. That's a precise, checked table of planetary positions, and it places your planets. Your birth time and place add the ascendant, the midheaven, and the houses, because those come from where the Earth's rotation put you. Every part of it is a genuine calculation, not a tradition or a guess. Next up in this series, we start reading what all of this means. That begins with the first 4 houses: your sense of self, your money, how you communicate, and your home. Subscribe so it shows up for you. Thanks for watching. See you in the next one.